How many times have you died even though you swear you hit the dodge button? 100, 1,000, maybe 50,000? You're pressing that button like crazy, but the roll just doesn't come out. Want to make sure that never happens again? Then you're in the right place. In this video, we're breaking down how frames actually work in Souls games, how to dodge like a pro, what's wrong with the bosses in Nightreign, and what From Software is hiding behind the scenes. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's dive in. Let's start with the basics. Hitboxes and data frames. Sounds super complicated, but honestly, it's way simpler than you think. In games, every object or character has invisible geometric shapes that match their model, which could be a circle, square, sphere, triangle, or even a cylinder. When one of those shapes hits another, something happens, like you take damage. A hit animation plays, or you just get launched into space like a SpaceX rocket. Here's how it works in practice. Bosses have weapons, right? And those weapons have hitboxes. At a certain point during the attack, one of those hitboxes activates, and if it hits your character, you take damage. The bigger the hitbox or the more hitboxes a boss has, the harder it is to dodge. That's why Royal Revenant is such a nightmare to deal with. Just look at how many hitboxes this guy has. But you've got your own weapon to deal with it, the roll. When you roll, your hitbox actually disappears, and you become invincible for a short window, about 0.4 to 0.6 seconds to be exact. So to dodge properly, all you need to do is make sure your invincibility frames line up with the enemy's active hitbox frames. Sounds simple, right? Then why do you still end up in those "I swear I pressed it" moments? Well, here's the catch. The game doesn't register the dodge when you press the button, it registers it when you release it. So if you're panicking or mashing or holding the button, the game can't tell which input is legit, and your roll gets delayed. That's why even though you did press dodge, it just doesn't work the way you expected. But if that were the only thing going on, Elden Ring wouldn't be such a brutal game, would it? To make things even harder, bosses have a mechanic called roll catch. They delay their attacks on purpose, just to bait your roll and smack you right after. But that's just the beginning, because what's going on with the Night Lords behind the scenes will seriously blow your mind. Let's take a look. There are only 8 Night Lords in Nightreign, and almost every one of them comes with unique mechanics we've never seen in previous entries of the series, from splitting into parts to creating madness circles around the arena. And it all starts with the very first boss. Tricephalus isn't exactly what he pretends to be. You probably remember the trailer where Cerberus splits into 3 parts. My first honest reaction was, whoa, that is sick. They must have made 2 full faces with completely different movesets. But in reality, well, it's actually the same dog model, only base body with an attack animation and a single set of frames. They basically just copy-pasted 2 more heads onto it to save time and effort. Yep, all of the heads are taken from the one model and have the same number of hitboxes. But to be fair, not everything is that lazy. The sword model and its attacks have great animations and a ton of hitboxes. But let's be real, we're not here to rate models. What really matters is how to dodge boss attacks, and what these fights are actually made of. So let's take a look at one of Tricephalus' special moves that's probably one-shot you at least once. The first one is when the dog splits and suddenly your entire health bar is gone. You don't even know what hit you. And of course you don't, nothing shows up on screen. But backstage, some pretty wild stuff is happening. As you can see, an invisible hitbox slams right into you. It's fast and pretty big, which means your timing has to be perfect if you want to avoid it. And that brings up the real question. How do you time your roll correctly? To answer that, we need to go a bit deeper into how dodging and timing actually work in Elden Ring. As we already covered, you only take damage when your hitbox intersects with the enemies. So the less time you spend inside that hitbox, the better your chances of surviving. The easiest way to reduce that contact time is to roll into the attack. Most enemies in Souls games only have hitboxes in front of them. If you split the dog model in half, you'll see there's basically nothing behind it. That's why one of the smartest tactics is to get behind your enemy. But From Software saw that coming, so they gave bosses spin attacks that quickly turn them back toward the player, shutting down easy backstabs. Anyway, rolling forward might feel like the wrong move. Going straight into danger goes against basic instinct. But it works, and here's why. Take a look at the screen. When you roll forward, the contact zone, both in space and in time, which is shorter than if you roll backwards, it happens because the boss is also moving forward while attacking. It's a highly effective strategy, but not always. For example, when the dog uses its dash attack, things change. As you can see, the hitbox is way bigger during that move. So if you roll forward, you still get hit. In cases like that, you want to dodge to the side instead. Now that you know how it works, we can move on to the real deal. Timing. When exactly should you press that roll button? Every boss attack has a specific duration, a window between when the hitbox appears and when it disappears. Visually, it looks something like this. Here's the start of the attack, and here's the end. That's the window where you need to press roll if you want to avoid taking damage. For normal attacks, this feels pretty intuitive, but then there are tricky ones, the kind where it's not clear when to dodge. Tricephalus, for example, has a few nasty moves, like this split. Before the split, you get about 2 seconds to spot the animation where the dog starts preparing. Then, when it actually splits and reaches you, you have roughly 0.8 seconds to time your roll. Another dangerous one is this sword swipe, followed by a fire explosion. You'll see a fake roll bait for about a second, and then you've got about 0.3 to 0.5 seconds to dodge, depending on where you're standing. And finally, the grab bite. Not only can it one-shot you, but it also charges up for what feels like forever. It spends about 2.5 seconds making a fake roll, and then gives you just 0.5 seconds to dodge. Let those numbers sink in. You're reacting within fractions of a second, and somehow you're nailing it. Yeah, that's how much of a badass you actually are. Don't you forget it. Now it's time to move on to the next one. The dragon Caligo. All bosses in the game files are listed in order, but this guy, they just threw him in randomly. There's nothing special about him, except, well, the fact that he's a freaking dragon with some of the coolest hitboxes in the entire game. Most of his moves are recycled from regular dragons in Elden Ring. Tail spins, stomps, bites, you name it. The only new thing is his wing slam, a custom mechanic they added just for him. But the real star of his moveset is his breath attack. You've probably died from the dragon breath like this, or like this, or maybe like this. And you probably had no clue how you died. You pressed the roll right on time, did everything right, and still got smoked. Well, I'm going to show you exactly how this dragon kills you, even when your dodge was perfect. See, you can't actually dodge these breath attacks with a simple roll. When he flies up and unleashes his ice, the damage doesn't go away right away. The hitbox lingers on the ground for around 3 seconds, while your roll gives you just 0.5 seconds of invincibility, which means, yup, you're taking damage no matter what. And if you somehow stand up early while the hitbox is still active, you'll get hit twice. The only real option? Don't dodge. Just back out of the danger zone before it even hits. He's also got 2 unique attacks that are especially dangerous. The first is a ground-focused breath attack. He breathes downward and creates a freezing circle beneath him. Same deal, run away. Don't try to time it, just go. The second one is wild. It lasts a full 30 seconds. The dragon fires 3 waves of projectiles. The first 2 last 2 seconds, but the final one drags out for a full 4 seconds. It's like Erdtree's projectile spam from Elden Ring. And yup, it looks just as insane. Dodging it isn't hard, but I had to include it here because it just looks too epic not to show. Oh, and here's something about dragons you probably didn't know. When he breathes forward, you can stand behind an object, and the hitbox will curve around it. Sadly, the arena for this Night Lord has no obstacles. Missed opportunity, really. Next up on the list, Gaping Jaw. This guy recently got an update, aka Jaw version 2.0. In the game files, there's an unused animation where he burrows underground and grabs you from below. Here's what that would have looked like. But for some reason, the devs decided to scrap it and never made it into the final version of the game. Just like with the dog, the only truly dangerous part of his body is the top, specifically the jaw. So rolling forward is usually a great tactic, usually. In one of his attacks, the hitbox doesn't just cover the jaw, it also spreads across the body. So even if you dodge the jaws perfectly, you might still take damage from his massive torso. But what really drives players mad is his infamous grab. Man, this attack has tilted me so many times. And I'm sure you've had teammates who've gotten caught in it every 10 seconds. So why does that happen? Because he actually has 2 versions of the grab. One comes right after a combo, the one we all know and hate. The other one, it's just a standalone grab out of nowhere, like this. That's why sometimes your teammate ends up getting chomped while you're just watching this while eating chips. Why does that happen? Simple, they don't watch our videos. On top of that, Gaping Jaw has a mechanic like Godric's ground lift attack. The hitboxes appear almost instantly, and we're talking 0.3 seconds to dodge it. But here's the trick. Your roll gives you 0.5 seconds of invincibility, which means you can roll about 0.2 seconds early and still dodge the damage. Now let's talk about his 2 most interesting attacks, the lightning explosion and his phase 2 transition. Unfortunately, Nightreign doesn't currently let us see the boss projectiles clearly. But hey, if this video hits at least 20,000 likes, I'll make a mod and drop part 2 where we break it all down visually. But we still see timings and can compare his attacks to similar ones from Elden Ring and figure out when exactly to dodge them. Let's start with the lightning attack. The hitboxes here feel like an upgraded version of the gravity slam from the Falling Star Beast. Now for the hurricane. Unlike typical AoE storms, this one works in reverse. You actually have to stay inside the center to avoid taking damage. Everything outside it will get hit by a ticking AoE. A bit further out, you'll see columns of wind that suck you straight into the center. No other Souls game has an attack like this. So just run as far from the center as you can. Use a wind pillar to launch yourself inside the hurricane and hope for the best. Next up, the Centaur. This guy also got updated recently and has a lot of cool animations as well. First off, his arm. The devs kinda messed up the animations, so sometimes the hitbox registers before his hand actually touches the ground. And instead of the usual cylinder-shaped hitboxes for limbs, his entire hand ends in a sphere. That means the range is larger than it looks, and that's how you end up saying, wait, how did that hit me? In Phase 2, his spear gets upgraded. And just look at the size of that thing. It's long enough to poke your buddy into another room. Oh, and he's got a bow attack too. That works like a fast-forward version of Loretta's arrow, and a full-on arrow rain. The bow shot is so fast you have just 0.2 seconds to roll. So yeah, better start dodging early. Another standout is his charge attack, a combination of speed and size. Since he's massive, his hitbox is 2, which means your only real option is to dodge sideways. You'll have about 0.5 seconds to react, and he'll be charging for a whopping 18 seconds. And the cherry on top? The arrow explosion. This one's got a 2-second roll bait, and it works just like Radahn's Falling Star on Millennia's Bloom. It's a massive AoE slam with only 2 seconds to react, and the roll timing is super tight, 0.3 to 0.5 seconds. Moving on, next up is Libra. Let's start with this. If this goat grabs you, you're done. You can't just walk away. The grab hitbox is huge, and when I say huge, I really mean it. Just look at it. He's got some of the fastest spear animations in Elden Ring. While a regular spear guy might take 2 seconds to swing, Libra does it in 0.3. That means you need perfect timing to dodge it. And then comes the combos. Just look at how fast he chains attacks. You barely get time to breathe, let alone dodge. Now for the special stuff. He uses Madness Wave Rings, just like Mindra. Moreover, he has a new mechanic, rings that spawn under you and explode with madness. You'll have about 1 second between appearance and explosion. Don't waste it. Libra also has a second phase. If he strikes a pose and glowing circles appear around him, he's entering Berserk mode. To stop this, either run through the circles or shoot them. But if he does go Berserk, he'll unleash a combo of 5 rapid attacks, each with a 0.3 second dodge window. It's tight, but I believe in you. And one more thing, the madness debuff. While he tries to do this and cast madness on you, don't panic. Just collect the yellow shards on the ground to clear it. Still with me? Good, because the next boss is all about sleep. No joke, this guy's probably the weakest boss in the game for ranged builds, and the most annoying for melee. He has the fewest animations out of all the Night Lords, and while he teleports across the field, his hitbox sometimes activates randomly, even from a mile away. Just be aware. His sleep attack is simple. Hit him to cancel it. The other attack rains down exploding orbs on your head. No room for jokes here. It's a classic Elden Ring move. Radahn, Millennia, they all use it. But here's the twist. These projectiles are physical objects, and you can shoot them with a bow to cancel the explosion. Next on the list, the butterfly. It only has a few close-range attacks, the one you see on screen. Everything else is projectile spam. There's a pollen move that's basically a carbon copy of the perfumer's move in Elden Ring, and a few drop attacks that look just like the flower's AoE. Its buddy uses a ground slam like the Crucible Knight. As you can see, the hitbox is massive, definitely something to dodge. That one move that actually matters, the boss charges at you while spamming a rain of projectiles from above. The tricky part is you can't roll forward. The crab's hitbox is too big, so just dodge to the side instead. And finally, the Aura Farmer himself. You'd expect the final boss to be epic, but this one, it kind of feels like the devs just gave up. Most of his moves are basic sword swings. Sure, there are some slick combos like these, and yeah, you'll have just 0.3 seconds to dodge them. But the main gimmick here is the floating aura phase. He stays in the air for 5 seconds, then gives you 2 seconds to dodge the slam. After that, exploding floor tiles start appearing, just like Godric's mechanic. He's got a follow-up version of that move too, but honestly, that's it. Just a boss that swings his sword really fast. Nothing too special. And that's all. This video took a ton of effort to research, record, and break down. So if you made it all the way until here, thank you, it means a lot. If you want to be fully geared and OP before these Night Lords, check out my previous video on how to hit level 15 before the last boss. If you like this kind of deep dive format and want to see more, drop a comment and let me know. I read everything you guys post, and your feedback literally shapes the next video. Smash that like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.